will touch, amuse, and surprise you. And we're going to show them to you. Every story you'll see on deClassified started out as an ad in the Chicago Tribune. Let's take a look. And this man, a cross-dresser whose family has learned to accept him. Like this online ad. Cross-dressers support group. Wives and partners welcome. How do you cope with the revelation that your husband is a cross-dresser? Well, one way is to share your fears and your problems with others. This is Sarah, and this is Shelley. Here are their stories.
I feel better now. I'm alive again.
Generally, we identify a cross-dresser as someone who is male and dresses in female clothing. There are men who cross-dress maybe once or twice a year to men who cross-dress on a daily basis. There are some cross-dressers that are gay, but generally they are not homosexual. They are heterosexual men. Oftentimes they are married, have children, are very happy in their masculine role, like both genders, and tend to express both genders. Shelley, maybe if you could tell us a little bit about how you first found out about Shelley.
I found myself interested in the things that my mother wore as clothing.
How old were you when you first?
I would say I was probably 10 or 12. You know, I found that the clothing was comfortable. It was the feeling of the fabrics were something that brought out a feeling in me I couldn't quite explain.
I think some of the satisfaction that cross-dressers get from wearing the clothing of the opposite sex is a feeling of comfort, a release from stress, a sense of a fullness to their personality. Sarah, I was just wondering, you know, if we could go back to your mom for a minute, because I'm really interested in her first reaction to you.
She didn't want to deal with this. It wasn't her son anymore, and it really bothered her a lot.
One day he told me about this, and he asked me, how could you handle it? And I said it'd be very hard to handle, but I think I could. So he went up to his room and came down in full dress as a woman. And it was a shock, a very big shock.
Did your wife know?
No.
How did she find out?
Well, that was a traumatic story.
I first found out that Jim was a cross-dresser in kind of a very cruel and abrupt way.
It was when I was in the military. We had been married for a couple of years, and I had found myself needing to dress.
He was in the Air Force, and we had a baby at that time, just about 3 or 4 months old, and I got a phone call.
And so I decided to go to the mall in the major town that was nearby, and went into a Sears and decided to use their washroom.
It was not legal to go into a ladies' room dressed that way, being a man, so they arrested him, and they booked him and fingerprinted him, and it was a very traumatic experience.
I was feeling good about expressing this side of me, and then this all made it look like there was something wrong with it. All this, like I was a criminal or something.
I really thought it was maybe a mental condition or some kind of illness. I really didn't know where it came from. Sometimes I thought he had a choice, and he was making all the wrong ones.
There's a lot of speculation about why cross-dressing occurs. Right now, people are looking at ideas that might be biological, genetic in nature, with an environmental component. But we're really not sure why people cross-dress.
More of Linda and Jim's story when we come back. And my search for the ride of my life. Here's the online ad that began this story. Cross-dresser support group. Wives and partners welcome. The ad led us to Shelley and his wife Linda, married for 30 years with 3 grown children and 2 grandchildren. For decades, they've been working toward understanding Shelley's compulsion and each other.
She had stated that it doesn't come to the bedroom. Cross-dressing doesn't come to the bedroom. And I...
So there are boundaries.
Oh, yeah. Everyone should make boundaries and have boundaries. And I'm quite comfortable with that, too, because J.D. is her husband, and that goes to bed with her. And it seems a little turkey for myself if it was in any other way.
We have a ongoing respect. If Shelley's going to be there, Jim tells me beforehand, okay, I feel like being Shelley tonight. When you come home from work, I might be, you know, dressed as Shelley. Or how would you feel about dressing as Shelley being around tonight and we do nails? Or we, you know, sit and play cards. So, yeah, great, no problem, you know. But if I happen to be in a mood where I'm not really open to it, I make sure I tell him.
I do think that cross-dressers can find happiness in their life and in their marriages. I think that once people begin to understand this phenomenon and some of the shame is alleviated, that people can grow even closer together with their spouse.
I mean, gee, dressed like this, you gotta have some fun with it.
We like to dance together.
Yeah, we have a good time.
We like to go out and music, dancing.
It's the move, shake it about.
Oh, yeah, just setting it all out in there and letting it free. The best thing about Shelley that I would want everyone to know is how sweet, how wonderful she is, and how much she wants to reach out to all the other people out there and say, you're okay. We're okay. This isn't the end of our lives. This is just the beginning. I would like to reach out to other people, pass the word, get the world to accept people like Shelley for who they really are. Look beyond the outer exterior and find who's really inside.
Honestly, it's hard for me to understand. But the devotion Shelley and Linda show for each other after all these years is remarkable. And I probably won't think of cross-dressers in quite the same way ever again. You never know what surprises you're going to find behind a classified ad. The extraordinary marriage of Linda and Shelley. All the stories started right here in the Tribune Classifieds. We'll have more for you next time. I'm Tim Gregory. Thanks for watching. And remember, before you finish today's paper, don't forget to read the fine print.